Welcome back, everybody, to the College Coaches Corner. We got another episode here. We're going to take a trip to Mississippi to Division 3. We're going to meet with head coach Justin LeBlanc. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having this Mississippi guy talking on the Louisiana girls platform here.
No problem. You know, you got some roots from Louisiana, so
Yeah.
we're gonna let it slide for right now.
Yeah,
Coach LeBlanc's born and raised in Louisiana. Comes from South Lafourche, down in the Bayou, as we say, when we were at Nichols. He spent some time at Centenary in Louisiana, D3, before he accepted the job over at Millsaps. Coach, you want to spend a little time talk about your program?
Yeah, so we just finished up my 4th season back at Millsaps as the women's coach. I'm also a Millsaps alum. Not too long ago, 2006, and then coaching the guys side a little bit over there, and had some success, and had an opportunity to come back home, I guess, a few years ago, and jumped at the chance. So we've kind of going up and down a little bit the last 4 years, but coming off this past season, had a pretty good year. The year before, 22-5 conference championship, but we had 6 seniors on that team, so it was a little bit of kind of replacing them this year, and had a good group of freshmen, but we battled, and we finished, one of 5 of our last 6 games. Only graduating a couple kids this year, so looking forward to going into next year pretty strong.
Awesome. And I think I saw in your bio that you were Coach of the Year 2 years ago. Congratulations on that. That kind of leads me into my next question. So, tough one. You've been a head coach for a few years now. Who was the first coach that you felt like outcoached you?
Ooh, that's a good one. There was a coach at Hendrix. He's a good friend of mine now. His name's Drew Gang. We had beaten him twice in the regular season. It was my first year at Millsaps, and going into we lost the last regular season game to come out second. So we were in second place, second seed in the conference tournament, won the opening round game, had to play Hendrix again in the semis, had beaten them maybe 10 points plus the previous 2 times. And, he did some things that we were not quite ready for. And I knew, I was like, man, we got to come up with something. It can't just be, hey, we got them twice. And I don't think we overlooked them by any means, but they had some things they were ready to go that might have got overlooked a little bit. So I didn't try not to let that happen again.
That's a good story for sure.
Yeah.
We kind of talked a little bit off the record before we started going. Big thing I wanted to get your advice, your knowledge, and as much as you can educate Louisiana for sure. Anybody really though. We had Jamie from LSU Unis on earlier, and he had a great point. If you put the work in and you really want to do this, and you want to play at the next level, there's a spot for everybody.
Yeah.
With that being said, he talked about the junior college level. I'd love for you to talk about, as much as you can, educate us on the Division 3 rules, opportunities that we have to play at the next level.
Yeah, I listened to his interview, and that was a great quote, because it is. There's, most people don't realize there's over 450, probably closer to 470 Division 3 schools that offer women's basketball. That's well over 100 more than Division 1. Most people don't realize that, because in the South, there's only a few that people realize. There's only 2 in the state of Louisiana now, with Louisiana College and now Centenary. There's only 2 in the state of Mississippi. So even in this region, there's not a lot that people really know about. So with a lot of schools, there's a lot of opportunity for kids to play. But even saying that, there's a lot of
You're breaking up a little bit.
Kids from the past couple of years. The majority of our roster. Yeah, sorry about that, man. You still got me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The majority of our roster, even here at Millsaps, is a lot of Louisiana kids, especially South Louisiana. Our first team all-conference player, her entire career, is a New Orleans kid, Dia Fortenberry from Ben Franklin. And she's been a first team all-conference player. Could have easily played, lower level Division 1, Division 2, if the right fit would have came up and things like that. So it's a lot. to get seen. It's hard. The coaches, we go out there, we evaluate just like everybody else does. We're on the phone constantly with guys like you, who's still out there. What do you think? Our net's a little bit wider than a higher level, but we're working almost probably twice as hard sometimes because our net has to be that wide. But for the most part, Division III, Millsaps is the top 100 national liberal arts school in the country. Academically, our kids are on another level. We had 4 seniors this year. 2 are going to med school, 2 are going to law school. I have 6 pre-med majors on my team right now. We're looking for that type of kid as well, and one that can hoop along doing that. So our girls are worrying about taking the MCAT and stuff like that, but also getting thousands of jump shots up on their own a week as well. So they're some determined individuals, and it makes coaching them even that much better.
I bet smart basketball players make good basketball players for sure. What rules wise, I think stipulations that I guess we foresee in our mind. Division III is for smart kids. Junior college is for kids that don't have the grades. Junior college, we talked about it last episode. That's not necessarily the case. It can be you can go 1 year if you're a qualifier, and then you can leave right after that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't have grades, it's also an option. What's the rules as far as Division III? Is it different between schools to schools as far as what grades you have to have, ACT score? Well, can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
So it's definitely school to school. There's not like a national Division III like GPA requirements and stuff. Millsaps, we usually not kind of engaging in recruitment with the kid that has lower than a 22 or 23 ACT. Sometimes we can go a little bit, maybe to 21. It's definitely school to school when it comes to that. Contact wise, we're able to be out and evaluate. We can go to the non-certified events and things like that. We really don't have a lot of restriction on communication with kids after they completed their junior year of high school.
Awesome. So it's kind of going off of that. What advice would you give a PSA and kind of ask this to a lot of people, especially the 2021s? We don't have April eval. We don't have May eval. June elite camps highly likely getting shut down. Who knows? July's 50-50. I think a lot of 2021s, 2022s are panicking at this time. We've got a great class of 2021s, and kids are committing early, and I think a lot of the other ones are starting to panic on that. What kind of advice?
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold. One, I would say, academically, the higher ACT is, the higher GPA is, it's only going to give you more options. You limit yourself by what your grades are. No matter what level you can play on, you're limiting yourself and where you are academically. Academics opens up so many more options. A $10,000 academic scholarship is worth just as much as a $10,000 athletic scholarship. So academically, really taking the ACT as many times as you can until you're really satisfied with your score. Bearing down on those books, getting the GPA up, especially for the 22s out there that still have a couple years left of high school to get the GPA up. It's only going to help you out with more options. From a basketball side of things, I still think there's time. The majority of kids don't end up playing Division I. We know that, right? So the majority of kids are playing a non-Division I level, and I think you're doing a great job as far as publicizing this and things like that. We got to get away from this Division I or bust mentality, right? So you're highlighting kids that commit to JUCO and Division III and the IA just as much as you're highlighting kids that commit to go anywhere else. And I think it's just going to add to just the level of basketball in general. Hopefully we can get some of these August elite camps. I know a lot of schools try and have them in August and all as well. There's still a little bit of hope for the end of June that we can have some. One thing I'll say with that is, and this goes to coaches as well, high school coaches, at our level, and maybe the coaches at any high schools in JUCO might say the same thing. We get a lot of kids that end up not coming to our elite camps because their high school coach don't let them miss summer practice, doesn't let them miss a team camp game or something like that. I wish there can be a little bit more understanding that, hey, just because we're not LSU inviting you to an elite camp, like we're giving the kids opportunity to play. Like all of these colleges sign kids from their elite camps, no matter the level. So, I wish high school guys give them a little bit of slack for not missing, maybe a summer practice in June to go tour a college campus, because when school starts, it's hard, right? You're missing class, you're missing high school practice that, goes into the game that means something and stuff like that. So I'd encourage everybody to go to as many camps. If you get invited to a camp, make it as much effort as you can to get to that camp. And hopefully your high school coach is understanding with that as well, and summer coach as well.
I agree, man. When I was at Nichols, that was one of our biggest recruiting tools, was our elite camp. And we tell people all the time, when we're recruiting at Nichols or a school like that that's low major, I'm sure it's the same for everyone else below us. Like, we need you to be invested in, and you got to recruit yourself. And we want to know that you want to be at Nichols. It's not going to be beneficial to anybody if you don't really want to be here. And I think that's what we're seeing with these 2021s that are committed. Is these are the kids that took the visits on junior day that was earlier in the year, and they've already been on campus and they've done their homework. And like you said, they may have went to the elite camp as a sophomore, junior, and they've done their time. And as far as on the flip side with high school coaches, it's all about relationships, especially when it comes down to the level that we're talking about here, where D3, D2, low major, junior colleges, you got to have that relationship with the coaches, and you build that by being on their campus, one, and letting your kids, like you say, let your kids go. We definitely got to do a much better job of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting them out there, and it's realized everybody's always says that we're in it for the kids, right? So I think if it just comes down to that, it's gonna to open some things up with these kids. We certainly invite kids just like everybody does to come to our elite camp, but we always have 2 or 3 surprises that we didn't know about that we marketed. And the high school coach send me an email. It's like, hey, can my kid come to camp? It's like, yeah, sure thing, coach. And, they come, and it's like, man, I'm glad I found out about this kid. And it always ends up finding that 1 or 2 player that you might not have known about before. And then also, I mean, I personally do. There's some kids that come to elite camp that might not be a fit for Millsaps, especially academically, that I, in turn, just send their info. I mean, I have a lot of relationships with junior college coaches, NEI coaches as well. As like, hey, I really, really like this kid. I don't think it's going to work out here academically. Might be somebody you can take a look at, just as much as it's a coach, it's a fraternity, right? Everybody's going to help each other out. You go to one elite camp, it's like going to 10 of them. So it's, these kids always have to be ready to put their best foot forward, have a great attitude, things like that, because first impressions are a lot when it comes to those things.
No doubt. There's nothing like a live, being able to actually see a kid live and talk to them face to face, and like you said, let them see your campus, and you can kind of get a good feel for the school just in a few hours, So kind of leads me to my next question. With the quarantine and everything going crazy, how is your team doing? Are you staying in touch with them? Are y'all doing workouts? Like, how are y'all handling the whole quarantine stuff?
For us, I guess another rule about D3. So we're out of season right now. The coaches, we don't really have access to them as far as basketball stuff. They usually would be with our strength and conditioning coaches. So they have workout stuff that they're doing back at home. We do team Zoom meetings, and we have individual player meetings once a week. And we encourage them to stay in contact and stay connected with each other daily, if not every other day. And, basically get on each other's butt for, hey, did you work out today? What'd you do? They have their running apps, and they make sure they can check in on who got their miles in, this week, and that type of stuff. Our biggest thing, I told them, the 2 things you can do right now, you can go outside and you can run. Nobody ever said you have to stay inside. You can go outside by yourself and run, and you can stay connected with your teammates. We talk about communication is a big thing for us, just like a lot of coaches, but we try and take it to this level where we're like, hey, we want to communicate to connect. And if we're going to have this void in communication, negativity always fills it. So if you don't talk to your teammates for 2 weeks, she's going to think you got an issue with her. We're going to start assuming the worst and act accordingly, and it ends up building. So, hey, let's not, we finished on a high note in February, and, let's make sure that we keep this thing going throughout the summer and stay connected and be ready to go in August when things get kind of back to normal.
For sure. You spoke about y'all's rules. So I know D1 rules that you can work for 8 hours at this point, 6 hours, kind of. It's pretty much open now. You can kind of do 8 hours however you want. And you spoke about the strength coach that y'all are allowed to do that. What's the D3 rules as far as basketball and workouts outside of the season? When can y'all start? When do y'all finish?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. We really don't have any basketball stuff until we start practice in October. So they certainly have their workouts that they want to individual workout in on their own. They can be with the strength and conditioning coach on the preseason and stuff like that. We don't have any. Most of the kids don't stay around over the summer. Some do. A lot of my kids do because we're in the in the capital city of Jackson. There's a lot of hospitals around, so a lot of kids stay in town, either doing research with their professors, shadowing doctors, doing internships and things like that. So they're around. And then they have the gym if they want to come and get a workout in. But they're not required to stay here in summer school. So it's a little bit different. It's a lot, as far as there's a lot more individual accountability. You don't have that coach in your ear every day that's saying, hey, you got this 8 hours here. You don't have this GA go and get you out of bed and make sure you get your workout in. There's a lot of individual accountability. So we have to be ready for that as coaches as well, So we're looking for gym rats and ones that are going to do this, have this drive on their own to get in there, because we won't be successful without it.
That's got to be an adjustment, especially in the world we live in where everyone's go, 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 go. We want to be around, like people are quitting volleyball to play basketball. People are quitting softball to play basketball. They're trying to do it year round. And then now here we get to the next level. And not granted, there's great opportunities in summer school to work on your school and your internships and everything else. But man, I would be going crazy not being able to touch my kids and work them out.
It's crazy. I have a good friend of mine though that was a Division I assistant for a while, and now he's a Division III head coach. And he's like, man, at first I kind of, I couldn't get over the fact I couldn't have now it's kind of like, oh, I'm not here doing summer school and making sure they're checking grades and all during the summer. And so it's a kind of a give and take, but trust me, we wish we had a little bit more access to them, especially in the fall. But we got some driven kids that are getting it done on their own. And they know that if they don't, we're not going to be able to be successful, especially early on in the season. But a lot of our kids over the summer are studying abroad. We had like 3 or 4 study abroad in Europe last year and doing things like that as well. So they have the opportunities. I tell them, you only get 4 years to play basketball, but you only get 4 years to be an undergraduate student as well. So, 4 years to have a college experience. I think Division III, and that's the reason why I love the level so much. And as a former D3 player at Millsaps and stuff is, I did things that I would have never done if I'd have gone to a state school to go to school, as far as studying abroad and doing things like that. And still never get to play 4 years of college basketball. So it's something that you kind of get a whole holistic approach for as far as their college experience.
That's pretty cool. That's definitely a different opportunity for sure to be, like you said, well-rounded and still get the experience of playing college basketball. Kind of flipping it back more on yourself. Who's someone that kind of impacted and drove your coaching career, a mentor, somebody that you kind of look up to in the coaching profession?
Yeah, so I come from a coaching family. My grandfather was the head coach of Salafouche for 25 plus years. Went to a state championship game in the 50s at LCO High School, and the gym's named after him now. So growing up, having him as a coach and having my dad around who played a little bit in college. And I also have a twin brother who's a high school coach in Louisiana on the guy's side. And, so it's awesome that we talk every day, and we get to talk to somebody about basketball every day. And so he pushes me a lot, even with recruiting. Obviously, he helps me out recruiting too. It's awesome having a person that looks just like me out there. So, he definitely goes to watch some games for me and things like that in Lafayette. And so obviously having a family influence of it has been huge on that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm at the double check every time I see you in the gym from now. Make sure it's truly you, not you.
It's crazy when we usually go to the state tournaments and all. I didn't get a chance to go this year, but we usually have like this 2-minute rule. Like when somebody's talking to us for 2 minutes, we'll give them 2 minutes. If it lasts longer than 2 minutes, then I'm gonna have to stop and be like, "Hey, I'm Justin. You probably think I'm Jack," and things like that. So
that's cool. That's pretty cool. We had talked again before. You were talking about all your experience at the Division III level. I think you said 15 years?
Yeah, so I guess I started, 13, 14 years now.
Yeah.
Started right out, 2 months after graduation, I was a full-time assistant on the men's side at Millsaps. So got to work real quick and been coaching at this level ever since.
You played at the level, you coached at the level for 10 plus years. You got a ton of experience. Is there anything else you can share with us, just as far as knowledge of overall Division III persona of why it's, I don't know if it's persona from Louisiana that you just have to be so smart to go there. That's the only way, or like, what's kind of some of the challenges I guess you've gone
I
through?
mean, a lot of it, what we talked about earlier, they have this, this D1 or bust mentality. A lot of people have this misconception that Division III is glorified intramurals, and anybody can go play Division III. It's like, oh man, we recruit. I turn down kids every year. All the kids that we're getting emails from right now that are still looking for a place to play, that didn't want to come to league camp last summer, my spots are full. So we're recruiting kids, and we have our top 10 lists just like everybody does, and gets on them. The biggest thing with us is not offering athletic scholarships. So that's why we're we're really academic driven. All the money is going to be coming from the academic side of things, and filling out a FAFSA was a huge deal. So if you didn't do a FAFSA yet and you're 20 right now, you're missing the boat completely. 2021, when the government passed that new rule, it's awesome. Now you can start doing the FAFSA in October. Before you couldn't do it until the end of March. So now there's so much.
So when they start doing that?
Last year was the first year. You can start doing your FAFSA on the previous year's tax returns, so you don't have to wait till the current year's taxes to come back to do it. So it's so much easier to get it done now. They're doing themselves a disservice by not getting it done quick, because it opens up so many more options. Because at this time of year, when a lot of the athletic scholarships are taken at Division I and Division II, or even some Division IIs left, when you're having the split scholarships and somebody's not going to use it, if somebody can fill out a FAFSA and qualify for a Pell Grant, that coach is going to take them more than somebody that wouldn't, because they don't have to give them as much money. It's just the business of it. So you're doing yourself a disservice if they don't do it that way. And another thing I would say too is most Division III schools offer their games free admission, free online webcasting. Watch a game. Go watch a game and judge for yourself what you think the level is. Our league is 8 schools that are all top 125 schools in the country in liberal arts and higher education. There was 4 Division I transfers in our league last year. Only one of them made all conference.
Ooh, they can hoop.
So, we had a 6'4" kid come in the league. That was a backup center at a Division I school, and came and didn't even make top 12 in the league, as an all-conference player. So there's a lot of talented kids out there that, a lot of it comes into fit. Everybody talks about that. It's kind of a cliche coaching word, but it's an important one. Go where you want it. Go where a head coach is talking to you, where the head coach is spending time to go see you play. If a head coach is calling you on the phone, texting you, seeing you in person, that school wants you.
No doubt. I'm gonna have to clip that for sure. That's why I try to tell my girls, even at Ursuline, I try to tell them all the time, there's different levels to this recruiting thing.
Yeah.
They got a big board, and if you're not talking to the big dog, then you're down on the big board for sure. You're talking to an assistant, they're just kind of keeping it loop.
Our assistants go out there and recruit, and then we evaluate again, and then if it's one of our top kids, then they're going to hear from me. And if a head coach is making the time to go see you play, then they want you. And so I would go. I don't think anybody ever regretted going where the coach wanted them the most. They shot for a higher level or a different school that might have been a little bit cheaper or something like that the coach might not have been invested in. Usually that ends up being a little bit, it might not have been a great situation, but going where you wanted the most usually always turns out for the better.
Now, I'll get one more question in. I know we dealt with it some at the low major level, and I'm sure you deal with it a ton. Of kids are just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the D1 or the whatever it is that they're waiting for. Like time-wise, like you said, y'all are done, y'all are full, and here we are, April 8th, and y'all are already locked and loaded for next year, and kids are still looking. I mean, technically the late signing period hasn't even gone. We got the transfer portal. They start letting these kids eligible right away. It's going to be crazy for kids that are 2020s that are seniors, I guess you can say, to sign late. Is there any advice as far as, or what kind of challenges did you have with kids just waiting?
Yeah, I would, it's twofold. One, if a coach is, we deal with this is what happens a lot at our level. I'm sure NAIA and junior college and all as well. we go see everybody play in April and July, just like everybody else. We reach out. We obviously have a lot of kids that, I don't want to say blow us off, but you have a lot of kids that are Division III. I'm here. The majority of them always come back this time of year, reach back out. I would say if a coach is talking to you, hey, keep all your options open, no matter what level. You never know. Obviously, if you're a high major kid, mid major kid, and you got multiple offers on the table, that's one thing. But if you don't have a head coach saying, hey, here's your athletic scholarship, we will sign you today if we could, then keep all your options open. Treat everybody with respect, because like I said, all these coaches talk to each other. What's crazy is we get to be out as more than Division I coaches. So a lot of times the smart ones, they'll call us, hey, you saw this kid 5 or 6 more times than we could have. What'd you think? So we all look at the same kids. We all help each other out. And then a lot of these kids too, take it upon yourself to send emails and phone calls and film to coaches. Don't wait, for an opportunity to come. Go get it yourself. There's a lot of kids that we're gonna watch. We watch every film that we get an email about. We evaluate all of it. We leave no stone unturned. So if you're doing that, you're just helping yourself out to get seen by more people.
Big time advice right there. Coach, I appreciate you spending time with us. Is there anywhere the girls can kind of find your Twitter or Millsaps, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Millsaps WBB, Twitter and Instagram, Coach_LeBlanc, Twitter and Instagram. Love for everybody check out, like I said, check out the level, check out a game online. We'd love to have anybody come watch a game anytime.
Awesome.
Especially you need to come watch a game next year.
You're not lying, man. I'm about to get out there. I love y'all. It's the airplane hangar.
Yeah.
Cool little gym, man, for sure. I'm about to get out
New Orleans kids to kind of keep some of these coaches up there to come watch us.
There you go. Again, Coach LeBlanc, I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys just spending a little bit of time with us. Appreciate everyone watching. Stay tuned for another episode. We're going to come back with some more different mindsets. We've got JUCO. We've had NAI, now Division III. So it's all great information. Trying to educate everybody. And again, Coach LeBlanc, appreciate it. Thanks. See you guys next time.